Frequency distributions. The following list gives the test scores of a college philosophy course. Construct a frequency distribution for the set of data. Group the data in sets of 10 starting with 0. A frequency distribution tells us the number of times that a unique value occurs. A distribution is created using a chart. So the first column, or the column on the left, will represent the values, or the group of values in this case. And then the column on the right represents the number of times that value occurs, or the group occurs. So in order to create a frequency distribution, I'm going to first identify my groups in the left-hand column, and then I'll make a tally of the number of times our data appears in each group. From there, I'll create my final frequency distribution. So first I need to create my groups, and the problem tells me that I need to group the data in sets of 10 starting with 0. So my first group will be values 0 to 9. And that's because I want to count 0 as a number. So 0 to 9 gives me 10 values, so that means it's a group of 10. My next group is 10 to 19. Then I have 20 to 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59, 60 to 69, 70 to 79, 80 to 89, and then 90 to 99. And I stopped at 90 to 99 because my largest value in the data set is 99. So I don't need to go any higher than that. Now I'm going to look at the data set and place a tally mark next to the group that each value occurs in. So my first value is a 99, so that belongs to the last group. So I'll put one tally mark next to the 90 to 99 group, and I can go ahead and cross that off the list. Now I'll look at 88, and I'll place a tally mark there and then cross that off the list. Now we have 69, which is in this group, 60 to 69, and I'll cross that off. I have 60, I'll cross that off. 72 goes in that group. 98 goes in the last group. 89 goes in this group. 76 goes in this group. 49 will be up here. 52, 42, 34, 30, 20, 9, 14, 92, 83, 99, and 68. Now that I've placed tally marks next to each group, I can go ahead and count the tally marks, and that will be my frequency, since frequency is just the number of times that each value occurs in the group. So the last column represents the frequency. Now to write the frequency distribution, I just need to delete that middle column, since the frequency distribution only has the value or the group of values in the left column and then the frequency in the right column. So my frequency distribution is as follows, and this is my final answer. The following list gives the test scores of a college philosophy course. How many students scored an 80 or higher? We'll use the frequency distribution that we just created to answer this question. We want to identify the number of students that scored an 80 or higher. So that means that we're going to look at these last two groups, since we have 80 to 89 and 90 to 99. And we'll look at the corresponding frequencies, which is 2 and 4. So the number of students that scored an 80 or higher is found just by adding these two values together. So 2 plus 4 equals 6. So that tells me that 6 students scored an 80% or higher on the test. Construct a bar graph for the following frequency distribution. Here we have a frequency distribution, and the left column gives us the sales in dollars. And then the right column tells us how many times that sale or that amount occurred within the data set. So when we construct a bar graph using a frequency distribution, we first want to identify and label the values for the horizontal axis and the vertical axis. So the horizontal axis will always be the value or the item, and then the vertical axis will always be the frequency. So first I'm going to label the horizontal axis, and I'm just going to list the unique values that are listed here in the left column. So I'll place 1.2, 2.5, 3.8, 4.0, and 5.2 on each tick mark. And then I'll label the horizontal axis as sales. Now I'm going to label the vertical axis as the frequency, so the number of times that it occurs. And then I'll place tick marks on the vertical axis, and the highest tick mark or the length of the vertical axis should be at least 8, since 8 is the highest frequency. Now I can go ahead and create my bars on the graph. So the frequency that corresponds to 1.2 is 8. So at the 1.2 mark on the horizontal axis, I'm just going to draw a bar all the way up to 8. So that's my first bar. Then with 2.5, I'm going to move my bar all the way up to 5. 3.8 has a frequency of 6. So I'll start at 3.8 and then I'll graph until 6 on the vertical axis. 4 has a frequency of 4, so I'll go up to 4. And then 5.2 has a frequency of 3, so I'll go 3 up. And that is my bar graph. And sometimes bar graphs have the number of the frequency right above the graph, so I can go ahead and write that in, even though it's not necessarily needed. So that is the picture of our bar graph for the frequency distribution.